Hey everyone. Welcome into Real Talk for the first time. Here we are, we're starting. No one saw a thing. Nothing happened. The track is, well, the soundtrack is freaking Solar Jetman. Hunt for the Golden Warship. I think this soundtrack is by, oh, what's his name? Is it David something? Oh, it's not here. Oh, it's right there. David Wise. It's right there in front of me. It was David something. David Wise, who's done a ton of game soundtracks, you know. Alright. So, Oscar, you're here. I don't know if Charlie's here. I'm not sure. But regardless, this is a fun day for the Power Up crew because whoa. That dropped for you too, right? I just watched myself freeze for a second. Man, what's going on here? Something happened. Alright, we're gonna leave that alone. Okay, so. You're Charlie. Wonderful. Okay, you're both here. I began to say, this is a good day for our crew because we have a little game called Rift of the Necrodancer with the demo out now. You can just go play if you like. Let's turn this stream off right now and go play the Rift of the Necrodancer demo. Yeah, we have a few game modes we're working on for the full release. But this, like the core gameplay is definitely what we call the Rhythm Rift. It's like this thing here, you know? The kind of Guitar Hero mashup with Necrodancer grid-based stuff. That's the idea of the Rhythm Rift. So that's the main gameplay. And that's what's in the demo is the Rhythm Rift gameplay. So have a go! We had a lot of weird stuff with audio in this game. We're still... There's things that are not in there yet that I want to do as far as systems and content. But, and I think we'll get to most of them. But yeah, getting there. Getting there. You usually work Thursdays during the stream. Is it okay to submit even if you're not present during the stream? Yeah, of course. I mean, people have done that before, and I mean, people have done that and just missed the stream mistakenly as well. Which is also fine. I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's really just meant to be some actionable feedback, right? So if we can do that, whether you're here or not, if you watch it later on, that's totally fine. It's nice if you're here because we can ask questions like, hey, your page and your bio and your portfolio aren't super clear on its face regarding things like, what do you want to be doing in the future? What kind of work do you see yourself doing in a year, in 5 years? And having someone in the chat to answer those questions, those clarifications can be nice, but not the end of the world if you're not here. Totally fine. And I'm happy still to talk to you as if you were here. So when you do watch it, it feels like you were in the chat, you know? Yeah, no problem at all. So anyways, yes, Rift of the Necrodancer. Check it out. I'm there's like yeah, audio issues remaining. But we've done a lot of really crazy stuff with some help from various audio people around the industry who I need to make sure are in the special thanks, because We haven't really done like a legit rhythm game before, I don't think. We did Overpass with Studio Bean, but even that was kind of loose in terms of its needs for sound on the beat. Yeah, like we got really into the weeds of this one, so yeah, still in progress, obviously, but we're getting there. Hello everyone, by the way. Zavid. Good to see you, pal. Yeah, I haven't seen it for a while. In person or in the stream. Oh, tunes. Bonus Zone Theme 1. Can I sidechain here? Let's see. Let's see. Can I sidechain? It's sidechaining, right? Check. It would seem so. Okay. Alright, so this is Real Talk. We're having a look at some demo material content from some up-and-comers in the audio space. I feel like Oscar's kind of been around the block a little more than some, but we'll see how Oscar's going. If you are unaware, my name is Kevin Regimi. I am co-founder and creative director here at Power Up Audio in Vancouver, Canada. We've been around 12-ish years. I myself have contributed to many hundreds of projects in various ways, in terms of sound design and voice and music and just audio direction support or whatever. Kind of whatever the project needs, right? Or the team needs for support. Whoa, we've been doing Real Talk for 8 years now. Jeez. Off and on. Relatively steadily, but off and on. Some hiatuses here and there. And we've helped some, I mean, to my knowledge, well over 200 people find work in the industry. So we're going to keep it going for the time being. It's kind of the one quite mentorship-y style thing we do at Power Up. So we're happy to keep it going, you know? So let's pause. Well, no, I'll just explain the stream first. So the gist is we are taking a look at Charlie and Oskar today. And we'll be doing so from a few different angles. They're down here below. The criteria myself and past co-host Matthew Martinson worked out back in 2016 in terms of the way we look at adjudicating the work of aspiring, or not aspiring, of potential candidates for a given position, yeah? So first being presentation, that includes the website, of course, just general navigation things, general branding, identity stuff, taste stuff. Can we find the things we want to find easily? Is there enough information? Is there too much information? Is there a bio? Yeah, all these things. Just can we get around and is nice to look at is the gist. And then for the demo reel, presentation encompasses things like how long is this thing? How's the flow and the pacing? Are there bookends, like splashes at the front and back? How's the titling? How are the transitions? Kind of everything besides audio itself. The next thing down, material selection, we are looking at what pieces appear in the demo reel and in the portfolio if there is one. And what those pieces, if we watch it on mute or never listen to anything, what can we learn about what this person might want to work on one day? Like what their ambitions are, what their skill sets might look like, what their past work history might look like, all these things. And then the third thing down, content quality, is it good? Is there room to improve in some way? And there probably is. We try to look at things from an angle or from several angles, including things like balance and panorama and frequency range, dimension, dynamics, interest, kind of all of these things that come in together to make an engaging sound mix for the listener. And of course, importantly, specifically for our stream, we're looking at it from an angle of interactive audio as opposed to just post-production or mixing music for radio, that kind of thing. And the last thing, distinction. It's kind of a buzzword, but the gist is, are you standing out in some positive way? As there are a lot of people looking for work, especially with all the layoffs in the past year plus. And if you are not standing out in some positive way, you are thereby blurring into the background, and you will probably be passed over, even if you have the skills necessary to get the job done, you know? And distinction can appear in any number of ways. It can be your reel is edited really slick, even if it doesn't sound amazing. If the editing is amazing, it's like, wow, that can sound in a big way. It can just sound amazing if you just have done significantly solid sound design work. That's great, obviously. I mean, slick splashes, things like clear focus and direction for your brand identity and for your website in general. Just its look is really solid and clear and concise. Things like your bio showing you have been contributing to the industry, you're involved in the community, you're writing articles for websites. It could be you design synths in your spare time. It can be you got a cool photo of, like, I recall there was one photo we had years ago. It's in the Real Talk GDC talk, actually, where it's like holding the shotgun mic, explosion in the background. It's like it's a great, I can't get that image out of my head, right? Or like Ashton Morris's pixel art website, which we will never forget ever. Like, it can be kind of anything, but whatever you can do just to stand out in some way is, of course, just going to help you get that leg up, get that plus over all of your all of the other competing candidates. So today we're looking at Charlie Leslie and Oskar Bala. I believe it's like Bała, though, isn't it? Aren't you Polish? This is V2, isn't it? Yeah, Poland. Is it Bała? I think we talked about this last time. I'm trying to recall. I got like some Polish buddies in my past, like with the name like Kalvak and stuff, but it's like K-A-L with the thing, right? It's not just L. It's like, come on. It's like, I gotta draw it because I'm not sure how to do it with the. It's B, A, and then like this, and forgive me, I think it's this way. It might be that way. Maybe like this. No, I think this is right. Like that, right? Oh, it's almost like this. Oh God, I was right. I was wrong. A coin flip chance. I'm so sorry. I'm uncultured. Don't save. Okay, Oskar Bała. Wonderful. Let's stop Solar Jab Man. First and foremost. Enough of that. Enough of that. Excuse me. I'm thrilled today because we don't have like 17 reels to get through. Last week or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, was of course Presley Hines helping us out on stream, and yeah, we had the pleasure of a 3-hour marathon stream, getting through 17 reels in collaboration with the Sound Design Discord. So today, a mere 2. This is gonna be very easy for everyone. I was like looking forward to this after I was on vacation in Hawaii last week. So this is like a nice come down, welcome back stream, as opposed to like, let's go. So, interesting. So I see at the top, it said page 2 for a second. What happened there? Is that the link you gave us? Page 2? Like, what is page 2? Where's that go? Oh, I see. So if I click about me, it's page 2. Page 3? Yeah, page 3, I see. So kind of strange it's called page 4 and page 5 and stuff, but yeah. Kind of weird, but so be it. I guess we're doing Oscars first. Charlie, we'll get to you shortly, but let's just dive in. So we got a nice black and white page. We got a relatively organized layout, looks like. Pretty concise. About me, let's have a look. So, welcome. My name is Oskar, and I'm a sound designer for games based in Krakow? Is it Krakow? Poland? Krakow. Once an aspiring musician, I discovered sound design in my late 20s and fell in love with the craft immediately. My whole perspective on games shifted when I saw how much can be done with audio, both from the creative side as well as technical. And this is what I want to bring to all projects I work on: storytelling and innovation. Okay. Currently, I am lead sound designer at One More Level. Oh, yo, that's like you're doing it. where I've worked on Ghost Runner 2 and now on an unannounced project with codename Cyber Slash. Besides sound, I love video games overall, Harry Potter marathons, and hanging out with my dog Jason. I'm always interested in new opportunities, so feel free to contact me. CV here. No period. That's fine. Also, 2 spaces. I saw right there. 2 spaces. I love dogs with human names. It's my favorite thing. Actually, my business partner, Jeff Tangsock, when he got his corgi years back, I think it was a toss-up between 2 names, between Norman and Jerry. Landed on Norman in the end. Dog Jason. Wonderful. So this is all you. This is all you, obviously. This is a fine finish, whatever. And this is you, obviously. This one is a bit less you, though. This is... I know you've watched plenty of Real Talk, Oskar, so you've heard us talking about making bios your own. It's hard. Right? It's hard to like really make sure that everything, every word is you specifically. It's like your late 20s. Okay, that's like relevant to you, sure. But I'd be more interested in like, how did you discover sound? You know, just saying you found sound and fell in love. I mean, most people in sound design can say that they had to have discovered it to fall in love, right? When it happened, again, that's you, but it's not that much of a foothold into who you are. You know, your whole thing changed when you saw what can be done in audio. Like, okay, sure, and then creative and technical, sure. And you want to do what game audio is, which is storytelling and innovation. So, yeah, this whole thing, you could probably be a little more personal to you. You know, we didn't really learn much about you in that paragraph. Again, not the end of the world. This is definitely not anywhere close to the most generic bio we've ever read. Not even close. But just as a nitpicky thing, I was kind of thinking like, okay, get on with it. Yes, okay. Tell me about you though, Oskar. You know, what are you all about, please? So skills. Sound design, Wise, Fmod, Unreal Engine, Reaper. It might be worth saying which one. Like 5 isn't that new anymore, but yeah, can't hurt. Additional, music production, composition, basic C++, blueprint scripting. Cool. My favorites with the Commonwealth U. Very nice. Games for sound. Returnal, Last of Us, Control, Analog 2, Inside. Yeah, good games. Pretty good. Like your Remedy, huh? Yeah, for sure. Games lately, Hades 2, Dishonored series, No Rest for the Wicked. That's Moon, right? Dave the Diver, cool. Credits. We just learned about that previously. Gas Station Sim, Winter Survival, Food Truck Simulator. Yes, Drago previously. Personal stuff, here it is. Demo Reel 2023. Is that the same one as up here? This looks different. Oh, it's also Vimeo, not YouTube. Okay, if you have a Demo Reel 2024, which I assume you do because it's currently June and you're on Real Talk right now, then we see this occasionally where people put up like their old reel and say like, I made this too, because yeah, you put a lot of work into it, and I mean, maybe it still stands out as solid in your eyes or something, but it's just a little bit strange because the purpose of a demo reel is to show just your hottest stuff. Like this is the reason to hire me. Here is the current state of me, what I can bring to the table, all my skills, my aspirations, my background, all of this. You can get a summary of it in this 1-minute video, right? So then to have it again, I mean, to put this here is to say, hey, here's a summary of who I was last year, but kind of like, who cares? You know, it's not like this work isn't worth watching or something. It's that specifically it's labeled as a demo reel and it's crafted as a demo reel. If these clips are things you're still proud of and don't show up in your current reel, then I might suggest putting those clips separately. You know, if you have whatever, game X, and you did a 25-second redesign or a 45-second redesign or 15-second redesign, and that's in this demo reel, just put that redesign over here somewhere. Like that feels a little better. It's a little more focused, because for all I know, there will be things in this reel that are also in this reel. And furthermore, like I said before, I don't feel I'll learn anything really by watching this, because I've already watched your main demo reel. Like, no one's watching this one first, your 2023 reel first, right? They're watching this maybe second, but probably not even second, because I've already watched your demo reel. I already have gleaned the information. I should have, at least. I should have gleaned the information that a demo reel aspires to provide, right? I already have this information. So why would I get outdated information? It's just kind of, yeah, it's just a, I don't see people clicking on this is all, you know? So to be honest, the amount of normal work I've done, so I didn't have much time to do something else besides a new demo reel. So I put the old stuff in this section. My thoughts was maybe it'll show some growth. Yeah, I mean, kind of, but I've heard that before. I've considered that before, but really, it's growth is a tricky thing, because if you, let's say, we'll just use Power Up Audio, sure. So let's say you applied to Power Up Audio a year ago when we had a job posting. And then you apply again today when we have a job posting. This is not a real thing we're doing. We're not hiring right now, but we're just saying for the sake of the argument. If you apply again, and we didn't hire you last time, but maybe you maybe your editing was like slick or something like that, but your sound design wasn't quite there, so we didn't quite think you were up to the task yet for whatever reason. And then next time you apply, we're like, oh, Oscar's back. I recall this person because they stood out for some reason last time around, but they weren't quite there for whatever reason. And then we see that growth because I've seen your work before. That is fantastic. That's very, very good. But it's just less, I feel really confident it's less likely that someone will be putting in the effort to adjudicate your old work and say, oh, they've gotten better. Because I mean, all I really care about as a recruiter who's looking at 500 applications, the core primary focus, like really primary focus, is how are they right now? And that's what your demo reel up top is showing us, of course, right? So if you are great right now, like if you're exactly what we need entirely, why do I care if you've grown, you know? And if you're not what we need right now, then it's kind of a foregone issue. Like I'm just not going to be like, oh, but they've grown since last time. It's just unlikely that I'll be putting in homework to look into work you did a long time ago to prove to myself, oh, but you got better, so therefore you can keep getting better with us. Does that make sense? It's yeah, it's just I just don't see it's hard to justify the benefit of having it here, because it's not teaching us much anything new really, without saying, hey, you got better. But like, I hope so, right? Like, of course, I assume you have gotten better. Because like, if this is good, this is what's getting you hired. It's not that this isn't good enough, or it's like, or whatever that means. It's not quite to whatever level a recruiter is looking for. It's really, really unlikely they're going to look at this. Yeah, like I feel pretty strongly about this. I don't think they'll look at this and say, oh, I've changed my mind. They've improved a lot since this point, so therefore we'll hire you. Like if that's the case, and this is not quite there yet, then they're already hiring for a junior, like a junior minus or junior level position, or like an intern or something like that. And if they're hiring for an intern, then this is probably good enough already, right? Like if they're hiring for a senior position or for a junior plus position or whatever, then this is so important. Like the demo reel will indicate whether they are up to the task. So yeah, I'm being really verbose here. I apologize, but it's an interesting conversation to have. Like, is it worth having old work to say I've gotten better? I just don't think it is, because if it's here at all, I mean, one thing we've kind of skipped over here is that if you have work on your page, then my assumption is you think this is worth showing. And if it's not good, there's no subtext here saying, hey, I've gotten a lot better since then, right? It's just, you just think it's good. And the thing is, I've done work 10 years ago I think holds up. And I've done work 10 years ago I don't think holds up. So I will show you happily. I mean, for example, like my game Phonopath that I released 12 years ago, I think there's content in that game that is still really solid. I'm really proud of it. And I think there's content in that game that I'm like, ugh, I cringe hard. And I'm like, man, that was me being lazy and cutting a corner big time, or me just not having the chops to pull it off yet, or whatever. And I would not show that, right? So having it here suggests I think this is great. It suggests that Oskar thinks this is great and it's worth listening to. So then that kind of goes against this idea of I've grown so much, because if you've grown so much, that suggests this is not good anymore, or it's worse than this stuff, This is like a long conversation. I'm really sorry. But I hope that's offered some idea of like of why I just don't think having a reel specifically is worth having here. But again, I really, really encourage you to separate things out and say, hey, I love this, whatever a thing might be. This Elden Ring redesign, I think, slaps, and it's worth having right here to check it out. Because who knows, maybe the person you're applying to like loves Elden Ring and says, oh, dang, let's have a look and see what Oskar, what they thought about Elden Ring and how they would contribute to that project or whatever. Okay. I'm being really way too... I'm focusing in too much on this demo reel here. I apologize. Okay, otherwise we have a Guardians of the Galaxy gameplay redesign. We got a League of Legends cinematic redesign. And yeah, there's something else too, is like this, I can see right away what it is. I can tell you're into AAA high fidelity projects. Demo reel tells me nothing. I have to watch it. But we have Elden Ring, we have League of Legends, we have... Oh, is it the same thing? No, it's different. It's a different clip. We got something else. We got League of Legends again. We got... Oh, that's this clip. So, okay, so your demo reel has this clip also. So now we watch this first. We've seen some of this clip. So you already have things separated out a little bit. So just do all of it. And then Guardians... Oh, right. Yeah, this is the... I think I recall this reel from last time, actually. I'm pretty sure this is what we watched last time around, isn't it? It seems familiar, just from glancing through. Okay, great. Well, let's... I love that you have your roles here, too. This is wonderful. You can tell what you did. It seems you're doing a variety of things. It's great. So let's watch this thing, shall we? I suppose, right? Cranked up. 3, 2, 1, and go. Contact me. Nice. Cool, Oskar. Thanks, pal. So, I mean, you're doing it. Like, you're working, man. This is not a small project to have worked on. This is great. Congratulations. This is a long clip to have for a late title card. Very long. I was kind of confused. I thought perhaps this right here was only a thumbnail and did not appear in the demo reel. That's what I was thinking. Because this is 19 seconds in. This might be the latest late card I've ever seen. It's way up there. Definitely. So yeah, it feels like you're proud of this clip. And sounds cool, you should be. But you did want to have this back to back with another clip, so you put this one first as a late title card vehicle. Excuse me. I don't think it's the end of the world. It was a little bit distracting because I was waiting for the title card and it wasn't coming. So I had this kind of this like thing in the back of my head that was distracting me from just watching the thing. And just pacing wise, I think just pacing wise as a piece, it's a little bit unusual as well. So it just might be a bit of friction there in terms of how the person watching like interprets your work, you know. But not the end of the world. Your call. The clip, the opener clip is cool, you know, certainly. I could not stop looking at this mouse cursor. I was really sad about that. You know, we got it's just chilling. Yeah, the thing is too, if you're feeling fancy, I mean, I understand this is a mouse and keyboard game, assumably. There's a mouse here, you know, various stuff like that. And so we click the thing, click to sleep, and boom, cut. You could, I mean, the mouse cursor's in black for the most part. I mean, you could recapture it and just throw your mouse off the screen, right? It's kind of like transparent what's happening. You just throw your mouse away and it's like, it's gone. Or you could use this same clip and go into whatever video editing software you're using, grab some black and just cover it up. You know, second layer on top, just hide the cursor. It probably wouldn't be noticed, you know? It is a bit of overlap, like 2 frames right here. But yeah, I did look at it, especially when you move the cursor, like right now. Because I was like, oh, it's still here. And I put my hand, if you rewatch the VOD, I'm pretty sure I put my hand on my mouse and just did this. Because I thought it was my cursor. So it's just one of those things, you know? Again, not a death sentence, just a smallest nitpick. But these are credits, you know? You're doing these things. These are great. Okay, so the redesign. Well, let's talk just presentation first. So presentation-wise, length is fine. Obviously, it's nice and solid. 108, good length. Pacing felt pretty good apart from the late title card. The transitions were okay. So first off, we just have into the card and then fade in. So we only have 2 transitions, I guess, right? We have this, which is oh no, please. There we go. Okay. We have no sound? What the heck? What is going on? Do I have this? No, I don't. Oh my god. Okay, I'm totally dropped off here. Crazy. Let me be right back. 1 second. Let me try and figure this out. 1 second. Check. You got me. Do you have this? It thinks you do. What the heck? What happened here? Whoa, I see what happened here. I see what happened. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, all right. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, something weird took place, but we're all good. So, this transition from here to here is just black, and then we have the second transition from the scratch into what? Into yeah, well, J cut. Like, it's nice and smooth. It's not particularly special, but smooth. So good. And then fade to nothing with no sound at the end is one thing. It was like bzz, bzz. You have a kind of neon sign looking font surrounding thing. It's like a, what is that called? A stroke, outer stroke, inner stroke, whatever it is. Emboss. I don't know what this effect is called, but it blinks on like a light, right? Blink, 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 blink. No sound. And then it does something at the end too. What the heck was that? It goes like zoom. Is that intentional? It goes like, you know, little draw. Yeah, there's no sound. It's too bad. And the opening has like the background sound, so we don't care as much, I think. Or is there sound for this? Yeah, it's like from this thing. So there is sound happening. It's not matching your titling. And it is kind of weird, Oskar, because you're doing the animation on it, right? Like you're blinking stuff in. So you put that time in to blink it all in one by one. And then you're just not sound designing it. So it's kind of weird. But verb tail here. Yeah, I get that. The verb tail is coming down, of course. But there's for sure room to do something with this. Something interesting. You know, why not? Okay, so into material selection stuff. I mean, these are things you have done. And they are, well, besides Alan Wake 2. But, yeah, pretty high fidelity. Looks nice. And if you look at your other redesigns down here, we got more AAA things. So pretty clear you want to continue doing this AAA thing, right? Hey, Colin. Good to see you, pal. And Rick, too. Hello, hello. So, yeah, material selection seems obvious. There are two of the one game, but they're relatively different. Like, one's cinematic, right? And one is gameplay. So that's actually pretty notable. You know, it's not like you just did some cutscene stuff and that's it. So these are different, and they're indicated to be different too. So it's good. Yeah, I mean, Alan Wake is of course a huge kind of project. So many angles to it. Moving into content quality, though, I would say that while, I mean, yeah, showing off the work you've done that shipped is fantastic. Good on you. This clip here is, of course, a previous thing, but again, you worked on it. It shipped. That's great. Yeah, cool. Big kind of abstract design sequence thing going on. That's just fine. Yeah, it's nice. Keeps us engaged. This clip here for Alan Wake 2, I mean, it's a tricky thing because A, Alan Wake 2 was the best sounding game of the year it came out. It won a BAFTA for best audio. I was on the jury, and I firmly believe it was the best sounding game that year. It's incredible. So it is a bold redesign. Realize it's a bold redesign. Because the thing is, I put this game through, and I love it, and the sound of this game is pretty known, you know? So, that said, this kind of sounds like the game. So, in terms of redesign, it's a tricky thing when you have work that sounds like when the source sounds as good as it does. You're in the position of saying, oh, well, do I redesign? I mean, the word is right there, redesign. Do I redesign and make it my own? Or do I try to recreate what they did? And the thing is, recreating what they did is a very, very worthwhile process. It's an excellent exercise in terms of flexing your own kind of sound design muscles and growing as a sound designer naturally. But putting it in your reel and it's like, oh, well, this sounds like the original sounds. It does show that you can get there, which is not without value, because to be dropped into a team working on a project, yeah, there is an expectation there that you start matching what this, like the creative boundaries of this project. You can't just do your own thing. It's got to sound like the game, right? So there is value there. It's just, it just sounds like Scratch, right? Like the and stuff. I didn't really get much from this. I think it's, again, an excellent exercise, but yeah, it just didn't really speak to creativity stuff. Does that make sense? Is that fair? I don't want to be like be mean here, you know, but it just, as I was watching it, all I could think was, yeah, it sounds like Scratch, you know? Just sounds like. And then final clip, sounds cool. Turn this off too. I suspect you're hearing a delay on OBS as well. You probably are, in terms of like the to when that sound happens. I'm trying to solve this problem on my machine. I'm getting like an input delay or something on one of these rigs, but anyway. Okay, yeah, like again, this shipped, so good job. You know, like what do I tell you other than that? These games are shipping. You're doing it. Nice work. You know, I think the biggest room for improvement now, because you have this really, I mean, you're building a body of work, Oskar, which is phenomenal. I mean, great job. Again, congratulations. So now, I would say the space for you to flex is, sure, doing redesigns of the kinds of, I mean, if you do want to work at mammoth companies like, well, large companies working on mammoth projects like Alan Wake 2, I mean, you have Control here and Alan Wake 2, so I imagine working at Remedy wouldn't be the worst thing in your mind. But if you do want to work on those kind of games, then sure, do redesigns of those kind of projects. This kind of work can't hurt at all. This, I would say that this clip, it's not just that it just sounds like Scratch, it's that it doesn't really go anywhere, you know? It is quite singular, if you know what I mean. We have for a while, and then we have the closer up, and then it's done. So we don't really have much flow there. So perhaps there would be room to still flex this kind of distortion style design with Scratch, and but incorporate it with a different clip where we have more of a going from point A to point B, or point A, point B, point C, and having that kind of storytelling indicated over time. Because, yeah, this is, I mean, bear in mind, it's a bold choice regardless of what you just designed, because this game sounds phenomenal, but this clip just reads like a sound design exercise as opposed to a redesign of a scene, and which would better communicate your own aptitude and sensibilities when it comes to storytelling in games. Yeah, this just doesn't really do much to to communicate those things. So there's room to improve for sure in terms of just the clip you've chosen. But yeah, if you want to try and if you're looking for work in a larger, or not a larger, this the kind of studio like Remedy, then yeah, why not design more of their stuff? I mean, that's a great way to show like, hey, I love your games. Like, I am all about Remedy. I have high buy-in. You don't need to worry about me like moving somewhere else. I want to be at Remedy. Period. It goes a long way to communicate that kind of thing. So go for it. I was also going to say that if you're feeling ambitious, there is also room, now that you have this body of work you're building, to just be a little more mindful of your editing and think about what clip can I use in this first 6 seconds to show the title card here instead of way over here somewhere. And then how can I select these pieces I'm capturing from games I've worked on, and also these new redesigns I'm creating. How can I choose those pieces kind of ahead of time to be to allow for a more interesting editing experience. So we have this clip flows like A, B, C, and the goes into like clip 2 that you've also chosen very actively to accommodate for that transition moment. So we have not only your 6 sound design skills, we also have your consideration and creative aptitude for a larger sense of direction, not just here's pieces on a timeline back to back with crossfades or fades to black or whatever. It's like, no, we're making a full piece here. This is its own project, and I have a vision, and here's that vision. Like, that's where you can start really making it shine a little more. Yeah, that's the one thing is this. I mean, because your work is solid, right? So it becomes a question of like, well, where else can we get +1s? You know, where else can we just make a little more ground compared to my competitors for that same position, you know? All right. Do I think that considering you have some shift work in the reel, could you do a lengthier video, like 130 or something? I mean, it's tricky. It's possible. I just don't think you have to. You know, I'm a really strong believer. I mean, our reel, we've been doing this, like working on commercial projects for 12 years, and our reel's a minute even. You know, not like we're not like the gospel and like you must do it our way, but just in terms of being courteous of people's time, and you know, just enforcing that limitation on yourself can be a positive thing creatively. You say, no, it has to be here, and it can be an easier thing to like add more content in, but do you have to? Because if you just choose like the hottest minute you have, this thing just slaps so hard. I mean, why do you need 30 more seconds? It's the classic, what's the word I'm looking for? The classic like adage of when you've made the sale, stop selling. You know, if you've already got their attention in a minute, don't say no. But I know you love me, but watch these 30 seconds more. Like, no, who cares? They already love you. Just do a minute. And if they want to watch more, they will watch more. But having a minute 30, you're kind of removing that control from them. This is my position, my philosophy at least. Again, it's not like this is the only way forwards, but that's just, I feel like you can't really go wrong to have a minute straight and then say, and there's more over here if you'd like, have a look. You know, if you have more content you're really proud of, I think that this reel alone is going to get attention, and it will make people say, oh, cool, let's learn more about Oskar. I think that's assumable at this point. It's good. You've worked on stuff, and the stuff sounds pretty good, right? So they will learn. They'll go to your bio and probably read it. They'll glance over things you like and stuff, and they'll look at what you worked in the past, and they might glance down at your personal work and say, oh, damn, what's this? More of whatever? You know? Yeah. Anyway, standing out, absolutely, 100%. I think there's just room to stand out more. I mean, that's a great place to be, Oskar, is to say, hey, I'm already in a good spot. My foundation is solid. I mean, you've been grinding a long time. You've been working very hard, obviously. You've worked on these projects. That's fantastic. So now it's like, okay, well, how do we get to that next level? And that's where being like a little more considerate of of these details here and there. That's where this can come in and be really, really helpful, you know? So killer work, honestly. Really good. Oh, this didn't work. Dropped off. Bless. Oh, because I unplugged my... It's gone. It's gone. Well, we're clapping this way instead. I killed FL Studio by accident. Oh, well. Claps. Thank you. Thank you. Jodgers. Okay, last question from Oskar. As a recruiter, how do you feel about hiring people from Europe with visas and relocation stuff being an obvious obstacle for both parties? Well, I mean, it's not like there's a catch-all answer to that question. Different companies have different levels of, I use the word comfort. I'm not sure comfort's the right word to use, but like capability. I mean, we hired Cole from, he was working he was living in New York and moved to Seattle, and we helped him immigrate to Canada, and he got his citizenship like recently, like last year. So we have that. We just hired Natasha Faye from Sydney, Australia. She's now living in Vancouver. So we were okay with it. It's something we were capable of doing. We have, we have resources and people in place to help us with that kind of thing, as far as doing paperwork with the Canadian government, et cetera, et cetera. So we have that capability. It could be that there are companies, some AAA team or whatever, where they might be more comfortable hiring at a distance on a contract basis as opposed to like a full-time salaried position. That's possible. It could also be possible they're cool with remote work, full-time salary. It could be they're cool with moving you to their city and saying, "Come on over, we got you." I don't think there's any there is an answer to this question. It's more like you need to find out from that company, from their job posting, from their HR team, whatever it is, kind of where they're at, right? Because it's not always going to be the same answer for sure. Also, would you say the power-up audio... I assume you meant reel. The power-up audio reel is more of a reel in showing how good the work is, or more showing the crazy projects you've worked on, plus some little nuggets of juicy sounds in there? I mean, more the latter. Yeah, I don't think the philosophy changes, though. It's not changing from what we are always seeing on Real Talk and what we're recommending you do on Real Talk. And that philosophy being, we want to tell the story of us. Tell the story of you in a minute flat or a minute 9 or whatever. And if that story is, hey, I am just fresh out of school, I'm working on some cool stuff, here's some cool things I've done, check it out. Like, that's your story, and that's a valid story to tell. I want to know that story. Tell me the story, But if you've been working for 2 years in the industry, you have a couple projects under your belt, a couple credits, then that's the new story. You're telling, hey, I worked on Ghost Runner 2. I worked on these projects, and I also want to work on games like this. I mean, that's what Oscar's doing. This is a great reel from that standpoint. I can go through like this and read the titles only and not listen to anything. I have a pretty good sense of what Oscar's doing and where Oscar's at right now. So I think this is doing the job in terms of telling that story. For us, I mean, I have been working in audio for like 15 years, 16 years almost. And my co-founder has 1 year more than I do. We have been working with, we founded Power Up 12 years ago. We've worked on a wide variety of projects. You might know some of them. Like, this is the story we're telling, right? You might know some of these projects. You might not know some of the projects too. And here are those projects. It becomes less about, okay, we need to prove that we can design sounds. Like, it's less about that these days because we just have the experience. And the telling the story of us becomes a little more about what have we worked on? What are we proud of? What are we capable of? We have this design reel that is like on the beat and has some little nuggets of juicy sounds, as Judges put it there. We have this cohesive vision, this like focused vision for this project of the demo reel we have created and put out there in the world that we made, So it's telling a lot of things, but it doesn't need to leave that philosophy of what a demo reel is behind. It's a show reel, and the presentation's a bit different. It has the music we made and stuff, right? But it doesn't mean it's not a reel or that we can't do it that way or something. It's just we are telling our story in a different way because our story is different. That's all. So hopefully that makes sense and answers your question there. But Oscar, we're going to move on to Charlie Leslie. Thank you, Charlie, for your patience. Here we are at charlieleslie.myportfolio.com. Charlie Leslie. All right. Continue to cite. So I thought this is all we had, but we have more cite ahead. I'm going to hold off on pressing this play button for now, but this is fantastic. I love this is again the philosophy of we know why you're here. Well, Charlie knows why you're here. You're here to look at this demo reel and say, hey, what do you think? Here's my best stuff. Although it says 2023. Oh man, it's always the dating demo reels thing. Because the thing is, we're now into June, almost July of the following year. So it's not like a full, well, it might be. When did you make this thing? Let's find out. I paused this 4 months ago. 4 months? What the heck? Why is it called this if it was made in, February? March? Did you just put the wrong date on it? Is that all it is? You just forgot what year it was? That's a valid reason. I do that all the time. I think it said Real Talk 2023 on the title down here for like 2 months or something until someone finally pointed it out. Yeah, I just don't think it's worth putting a date on your reel ever. Who cares? Again, all that matters is this reel shows your best stuff. If this reel shows things from 10 years ago that you're proud of, then so be it. Who cares? It is indicative of what you are capable of and what you're proud of, what you can bring to the table as a collaborator on a project. That's all that matters. If it was this year, I just realized it says 2023 right here. I've been totally ignoring the huge numbers in front of me and just seeing the tiny ones in the title. This is, I can say I've never seen this before in a thumbnail, being just leaning so hard on when this reel is from. And I think the reason we haven't seen this ever before is because it does not matter. I just want to know if your stuff is awesome. And if your reel is 5 years old and sounds amazing, that probably means you've been busy for the last 5 years working on cool things. So my only question might be in that case is like, oh, well, where are the new things you worked on? Like, what's the deal? But if they're busy, then I probably know the new things and who cares? Power Up had no reel until this year. 12 years in. We had like a kind of nonsense sound only reel for a while, but we mostly got by on talking to people, saying what we worked on our past projects and stuff, past positions, not only Power Up. And that's that. We have projects in our current reel from years ago, years and years ago, from like 2014 and stuff. Again, who cares? So, you may have gleaned. I have thoughts about this, but let's for the moment continue this site. We'll assume that we've watched this as a recruiter, as a collaborator, whatever, and we're like, damn, Charlie, not bad. What else you got? And we carry on to the site. So, this is the story, this is the journey Charlie is taking us on right now to learn more about what's going on here. This is pretty small at 100%. Look at that. Pretty small text. Like this is, I didn't think I was at 150 right now. I thought this is 100%. So this is pretty small. Be aware. I'd make this text a little bigger. It's pretty hard to read, honestly. We'll go 175 for this site. 150. So, hey, I'm Charlie. I'll go bigger for the bio. There we go. Hey, I'm Charlie. I am a creative specializing. Oh, I see. This is a noun. I am a creative specializing in the fields of sound and music, currently living in Edinburgh and completing a sound design MSc. I come from a professional background in music production, mixing, and mastering for artists. And as a gamer, I am drawn to the dynamic world of sound design. This field allows for exciting, this is I'm already mad at this sentence, but we'll keep reading it. This field allows for exciting opportunities to not only create impressive audio spectacles, but provide a player with an immersive world that they can get lost in. So true. Thank you for taking the time to check out my portfolio. Feel free to get in touch with any inquiries, feedback, or just to say hi. So you were watching Oscar's review just now, I believe, Charlie, right? And so as I was saying, and because bios are hard to write, because they're hard to write, this happens again and again because you feel like, what do I even put here? Because either you're not sure what details of yourself to include, or you're even, I mean, people are often kind of shy or just slow to write things that may come across as boasting or something, you know, but you really got to do it in your bio. Like you got to tell us what's going on with you. Like this approach of describing the job, you know, like this field, it's like you're selling us on game sound, right? Like, hey, I don't know if you're into game sound or not, but if you're not, I got to tell you, this field allows for exciting opportunities. Like it's not telling us about you at all. And you can probably assume that anybody on your site right now already knows and agrees with this. You know, you're not, there isn't someone from like a different industry entirely. No one from finance is on your page looking to learn about game audio. It's just not a thing. So this is like a brief thank you. Sure. Again, it's not about you though. And feel free to get in touch. Like, yeah, they're gonna get in touch if they think you're bomb, right? It's just, yeah, it is so British and Scottish. You're right. It happens a lot, actually, with Europeans in general, but definitely. This is all not about you. So we learned that your name is Charlie. We already knew that, but that's fine. And we learned that you are doing sound and music. That's great. You're in Edinburgh. That's great. And your education. That's fantastic. So this is very, very about you. I love this sentence. Your background is in music production. And so, okay, so this part here, as a gamer, you're drawn to sound design. Like, I should hope so, you know? But like, how did this happen? What games do you like? What kind of music? Like, what is your background? You know? It could be nice to, you don't need to go crazy into it because we want to focus on game stuff, but like, are you doing Unreal stuff? Are you doing Wise stuff? Are you, like, what interests you? Are you building, are you like designing, are you making presets for synths? You know, I don't care what you're working on for sound, but like, tell us, just give us something because, and more importantly, read every sentence in your own bio and think, does this apply to everyone in game audio? Because that's the worst thing, you know? It is the worst thing because you're just wasting your time and hours. And I feel like I'm a broken record on Real Talk, but like if they're on this page at all, Charlie, it means they want to learn more, you know? So let them learn more. You don't need to approach this bio so tentatively and hesitantly saying like, oh, you know, I don't want to tell you too much and come off like, oh, because they are here because they want to know something. So you can be assured that if you tell them, it will be welcomed. You know, you're not opening with the bio, you're opening with the reel. And if they think your reel sucks, they'll close the page. So don't worry. If they're here, they want to know. Okay, it's fine. You know, don't be afraid to be nice to yourself. Okay, so down below we have some scary imagery. Show reel. Okay, so we just saw that previously, I think, right? I mean, we haven't watched it yet, but we assumed that someone will have watched this. Breakdown videos, music. Oh, it's the same thing as up here. Show reel. Why is it in two places? So music, abstract sound. Also, I saw this start to disappear. If we're zoomed in a lot, we can like fade it away behind the thing below. I don't super get this bottom thing, and it feels like it's really bunched up against the bottom of the window too. But if we were 100%, it does look better. So there is that. We zoom in and it gets kind of weird. That's all. All right, so we got X, we got LinkedIn, we got Instagram. Is it selfies or is it audio things? It's private, Charlie. We can't even look at your Instagram. Why are you linking your Instagram? Spotify, we got SoundCloud. Okay. All right, next up, back to 150. So, also, what's the deal with the images? Like, where are these from? Did you make these? Are they an artist I should know? Do you have the rights to use these things? Next. Okay, show reel is your front page, right? We assume. Just again, you probably don't need that to be there because, oh, work? Okay, because I can just press back and see it. Or in my case, this tab. I don't think you need this here. Like they know where to find it, it's fine. Breakdown videos. What is this? Realistic breathing system. And it's how long? Not that long. 241. Cool. Adaptive soundtrack. Okay. We got surface system. Fmod and Unity. You don't need the word breakdown here probably. Because we already clicked breakdown videos. We know where we are. Just say Wise and Unity. We know what we're getting into. I'm a big fan of just trimming down, getting rid of anything you can, focus in hard, you know? And here you just say max MSP. Look how good that looks, you know? It doesn't say max MSP breakdown. Extra words. Who needs them? Nobody. All right, next up we got music. So you are doing sound and music, it says on your bio. So do you want to do sound and music? Perhaps we'll see your show reel and find out. Don't answer that question yet. Maybe I've already. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, we got electronic music live performance. Let's go. Like, why do I need to get here to learn you do this? This is so sick. Put this in your bio. Like, music production and mixing and stuff. Like, what are you doing? You know, just you're performing live with like the pads and stuff. Throw it in there. You're talking to audio nerds who love this stuff. Don't be afraid. You know, it's not like you're on a first date with a pharmacist or something who has like no idea what this is. Like, we know what this stuff is, so please jump in. I'm doing live sound or live electronic music performance with Ableton Live 10. That's awesome. Like, what a foothold that gives somebody to just say like, oh, awesome. I use Ableton. I love electronic music. Tell me more. Either in person or just like, it invites a click through to learn more things, you know, to hear it. Abstract sound designs. Okay. Interesting. This is a bit out there. Cool. We'll learn more later. Contact. And here's just a simple contact page. Cool. Let's go watch a reel that is not actually the year it says on it. It is in fact from this year. But that's okay. We will go sidechain off. And it's 120. It's kind of long. Kind of long. We'll see if these extra 11 seconds are justifiable. Let's find out. 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, it's doing the thing. It's not actually... It says it's a 1080. It's not a 1080. Try again. 3, 2, 1, and go. I can't clap, sorry. Claps. Claps, 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 claps. Thank you. Thank you so much, Charlie. Pretty cool, man. I don't think it needs to be as long as it is, but it's pretty cool. Let's talk about some presentation things. I'll ignore the date stuff because we've talked about that enough. This has been a very... yeah. What's the word? Loquacious? Does that mean I use large words or many words? I can't recall. I'm talking too much is what I'm saying. I'm talking too much about a given subject. Move on, Kevin. Move on. So this... Okay, presentation first. So presentation, lengthwise, it absolutely does not need to be 120. And this... there's certainly room to improve sound design-wise, but like this definitely is landing in that realm of when you've made the sale, stop selling. Like that's where this feels like, you know? There's a lot of really strong sound design in here, and it just feels like you're saying, no, but keep listening. No, keep listening. It's like, no, we know it's good. Like, move on. Keep going. What else you got? You know? So, first and foremost, I have never seen a late title card move back into the same clip again. It's kind of unusual. People usually use this late card to... Or have I? I don't think so. Maybe once. But... yeah, it's a bit unusual. Excuse me. And if it does go back to the a clip from the same project or same source, then it would. I mean, I would suggest not going to the same moment in time. You know, we have maybe it's something like you have. Let's use Alan Wake 2. So you have Alan Wake 2. Maybe you have some big combat 3-second moment, 6-second moment, whatever, and then into your name, and it fades into, we have a redesign of like the Mind Place or something like that, where it's a different clip entirely, different tone entirely. That might feel a little more natural. This definitely felt strange to me and a little bit jarring. Judges didn't mind it, but let's go again. Let's see here. Yeah, because also because the design of your name is way outside the design of Total War 3 Kingdoms. Well, your design of it, right? It's not even close. Staticky, you know? And then back into, it's just kind of strange. I mean, it's a hard... Okay, so we have that non-diegetic thing, like the riser into the cut. It's a big, hard stop, change in tone, change in style. All of that's working because you have that kind of pre-life on it into the big visual chaos thing. You have all that, but then you go back into it, and it's still a hard change from this back to that again. We're like staircasing way up here and then dropping way back down to here again. But there's nothing to just back into it again, you know? So this is why I think it's so jarring. It's not just conceptually you shouldn't go from one clip to name to the same clip again. It's that the way you've made this is, in terms of style, going from style 1 to style 2 and back to style 1 again with no connective tissue there, that's why it feels weird. Let's talk a little more presentation. So this feels strange to me. We're going to keep going, though, into... Okay, so first titling, it's like a little low in the screen, but not the end of the world. I think it might be worthwhile to have... Okay, well, also, why don't you take a little page from the book of charlieleslie.myportfolio.com and use this stuff? You know, this is now... Like, this has nothing to do with this. You know, we have this kind of classic feel here, and now we're into this, like, digital... blocky text thing going on. Also, this font is different from this font, is different from this font. You know, there's not a lot of focus in your reel itself. Also, like the thumbnail, right? Like this thumbnail is also totally different than the reel. It's white in the background. You have this masking thing going on. The drop shadow. There's like all the style choices you've made are fine, but you just don't make them again. Like we have no drop shadow, and so we have the stroke on the outside of these lines here, or the text here. So there's just various things. It feels a bit like we have this kind of junk drawer of possibilities for style, and we're like just grabbing stuff out of here and saying, we'll use that, use that, use that. So I would encourage you to be a little more considerate of those kinds of decisions. It's not sound, but it weighs in for sure in a big way. When things are focused in, it definitely shows up on the radar. Like you definitely sit up and take notice. And if it's enough, if it's random enough, you also kind of sit up and take notice, but in a bad way. Just being like, this is totally kind of chaos. It's everywhere. So last small nitpick, it can be nice to have a little bit of different weight in the name of the project compared to the thing you did. It can be nice. These are equal weight currently, right? So just in terms of style stuff, just can be nice. Okay, so transition 1, what do we got? We got whoosh into a change. Yeah, that's cool. I definitely thought, nice, when it happened. You know, I did. It's pretty cool. And then next transition is here-ish, is that right? Okay, so no cool transition there. So not as slick. Not the end of the world. And then this one is also fade out. Yeah. And this one is what? A little boing. I think I know what you're talking about. We'll get to that in a second. That was definitely a note I made as well. Not the boing specifically, but yeah, we'll get there right away. So, yeah, flow-wise, it's nice. Certainly. I think it's too long. I think you can definitely cut down this clip. You can cut down, I think, most clips, honestly. I definitely got to a minute and I was like, okay, let's go. But yeah, it's tricky, Charlie, but it's kind of up to you to say, okay, if we're watching, like each second that passes, stop and ask yourself, am I learning something new about the person in this reel? And if you're not, so we've had some examples of like, oh, we have a combat sequence. And it's a lot of Foley and grappling and rolling and whooshes and impacts and stuff. And after 8 seconds of that, 12 seconds of that, it's kind of like, okay, cool. We've got a pretty good gist of what the full picture is for what combat sounds like to you. And then it'll go 6, 7 more seconds. And we're sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, we know. We've heard this. We already have this picture. You're just still doing stuff in the same room, and we know at this point what the boundaries of this room look like. So it's not really teaching us anything new at this point, and we're just wasting seconds. And this always comes back to the fact there are hundreds of people vying for these positions. So those seconds are not trivial. They matter in a huge way. So if you can say, okay, I can trim this down to 3 seconds less, do it. 100% do it. And those 3 seconds can be used reading your bio that say things about your Ableton Live experience and adoration, right? And that's because those 3 seconds are now being used to learn something new. So that, of course, is a better use of time. And it sounds like it's just those 3 seconds, but it matters so much. Because if you take 3 seconds and multiply by 500 people, we're talking like significant time that is being potentially wasted on your reel if you blow it up into that kind of scale, you know? It's a big deal, very big deal. So look at these clips and say, can I cut things off the front, off the back? Maybe there's like a cut in the middle. I can just pull out if I want to have something in the back and the front and put them together and sort of cheat the original content a little bit. That's fine too. Who cares? It's just a redesign. But yeah, you don't need to have 121. Let's, so 25 minutes. There you go. Thank you, Colin, for the math. All right, so into some material selection stuff. So these are all pretty high fidelity things. I mean, Creative Assembly, 2K Marin, FromSoft, Motive. These are not small projects. So it seems like you're interested in working on something pretty hi-fi, and that's totally fine. That's great. Content quality. So the number one thing I kept kind of hearing in your design, Charlie, is, well, first and foremost, there's a lot of really great work in here. It's like foundation solid. Good job. It now comes down to, I mean, what little I've learned of your background in and interest in electronic music and synth work and such, I assume. What little I've learned, I feel, is coming through in your sound design a little bit, and in ways that are a little bit, it's lacking cohesion with the real world. And the boing that Jodgers mentioned, I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure. We're going to watch this clip again and see if we can hear it, or hear what I heard at least. Right there. So that sound. Is that what you heard, Jodgers? So I do the all the time. It's that bass is a great little additional foundation, like beef content. And this and varying levels of this happen throughout the entire reel, where there is a synth layer that's maybe just a little too clean, or too focused on that synth content. And as a result, we get pulled out of the reality of the scene. And it's not just serving as a supporting role to support like the, you know, not the air and the materials. It's not supporting that. It just is taking the place of that. We have that sound instead of, you know, it's a small detail, but it's a detail that can really take you out of the scene if you're not careful. And you can watch the whole reel again. I can just point when it happens. You know, it's here and there. So I would encourage you to not kill off those elements, but maybe start thinking about, okay, but if I was in the room, if I was sitting there watching it, would it sound like that? Naturally, you might not. The creative design or the creative direction for a given project might not be hyper realistic. If you're sitting there, that's what it sounds like, and nothing additional. We want to have that additional kind of beef and support and cinematic content, right? That's totally fine, but it's that balance and consistency that you're looking for. You have a lot of great design here in Foley and stuff, but that is like, we have this room, and that is like over here, just doing its own thing. And that's why we're so focused in here. And it's like, hey, look at me. And we're like, oh, what's that? And now we've lost track what's in this room, hence that kind of jarring moment, right? So we'll keep watching here. Yeah, right there. Happened again, right? And that is cool. I love the pitch down. Back up again. Cool moment. It's nice. It's like slightly tropey, but it's not bad. It's tasteful. Bam, bam. Psh. Yeah, it's cool. Good pacing. Love to the sonic impact of the movement in the foreground of the scene a little more. Yeah, sure. Like the crowd's pretty loud throughout. And again, if you were sitting there, it would be deafening, naturally. One thing you could consider, Charlie, is think of steady audio elements like that, like ambience. It's really common with alarms. It's very, very common. Think about introducing that sound at a high-ish volume. And this is all in the interest of storytelling, right? Introduce that sound at a high volume, and then over time, just slowly creep it down. Because if you're telling that story may begin with, we open on a roaring battlefield. And that's the opening, that's the first beat. So we have establishing shot, we hear the crowd, we hear all the clamor. And then the thing is, 5 seconds into this story, we know we're on a battlefield. We don't need to have it up here anymore. Because right now, the story's about like this guy. And this battlefield's like, I'm drowning, right? So now, bring it down, and we see me now. And I'm the guy fighting. So we have more space to bring like that story to the front. The story being, there is an ongoing battle of these individuals. And it's not about like, we're not, the camera isn't back here for the entire fight. It's not about this, the battlefield. That's not the story. The story is these guys, right? So let's pull that ambience down and then have more space to bring in that subtlety and nuance and detail and weight of those foreground characters. And especially, you could even play with it over time, because the thing is, when the camera goes back, the shot just inherently becomes more about the space they're in. But when it's way up close, say right here, we can barely even see that crowd, right? So why not bring it down just a hair and bring this Foley up and be really detailed with it? Because this story right now is about this tumble. They're knocked down. That's the story right here. It's not that they're in a battlefield. It's that they fell. Yeah, it feels like, I suspect you may have been struggling a bit to get things like the Foley of this, the weapon handling, like all that stuff to stick through the crowd, because it's so loud, right? Naturally, it's hard to make space for it. So just don't be afraid to bring it down. Don't think in your head like, oh, but it's loud. It's not about that. It's about what the story you're telling is. If the story calls for, we need to hear these things, just bring it down. It's fine. And then maybe this shot right here, it makes sense to make it loud again. Whoosh, because it's about them focusing in, but then come back to the reality of, no, we're in this deafening battlefield. Maybe that makes sense. It's kind of your call as the audio director on this sound redesign, right? You get to make those choices. It's the fun part. Big blast. The blast we hear, we don't really hear the results though. The debris is kind of generalized, isn't it? Do we hear the tumbling stuff? Those are like big pieces of rock that are flying out, you know? It's not that big. I don't know. Maybe I'm just mistaking how large these pieces of rock are. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, like it's the same thing. The synth thing. It's just sticking out a bit much, I think, in my opinion. Might be room to just it's like the cleanliness of the synth sounds. That's what is coming through. That's why it's coming through so obviously synthy and not like a supporting element. Like, you know, it's really clear that we're hearing that synth in there. Yeah, so here, again, we're coming back to what is the story over time and what are we hearing? And like, So right here, we're hearing this blast, like, bam. We hear that breakage, and that breakage just dominates the mix until like here, you know? So it's not about that. It's like, it's broken, and it's broken easily, right? It's like, who cares? This is nothing to me. Boom, broken easily. And then it's like, bam, 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 bam. So this, I mean, it's very fast, but this like 1 or 2 seconds, maybe 3 tops, is about the power of this character. And it's like he started to fly away. Like, poof, who cares? And it's like, doosh, doosh, doosh. We have those footsteps and the charging towards you. That's this moment. It's like, oh, damn, it's going down. He's coming at me. That's what this is about. It's not about this thing, and it's the explosive moment on this blast. You know, it's like that's yeah, it's part of the story, but it's not like the main event. And just conceptually, it's not what this moment's about. It's trivial. It's not like world ending, you know? Yeah, so the doo, doo, doo right there. We have those kind of doo, doo, doo of that bass content, but there's no like grit or high end in those footsteps. Doo, 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 doo. There's no like, there's no scuffing. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it comes back again and again to like, these sounds are very clean. And the thing is, that clean sound design, I mean, dude, go play Celeste. Like, that was our entire goal for the whole project, is like, be clean, clean, clean the whole time. Like, that is a valid approach. Certainly, just creatively. I think you do, if you redesign Celeste, like, you'd kick my ass. You know, it sounds great. This is like really good sounding stuff. But like, in terms of these kinds of projects, it's got to be playing that supporting role and sound a little more based in the room, based in reality, you know? Yeah. Bloodborne, let's see. Hey, Berserka. Good to see you, pal. Yeah, really strong. Like, this is probably your best work in terms of trying to land in that like more realistic space. I know who Berserka is. Settle down. I know who you are. Don't want to out your real name, that's all. I guess you've been on the stream before, and your handle's been on the background, but still. Yes, Berserka, previously of Riot, was actually a guest host on this stream years ago. Welcome on in. Yeah, pretty cool. Sounds pretty from Softy. Yeah, there's like, it's cool because you've kind of moved away from this really soft, rounded, clean approach. I mean, your UI is like pretty clackety clack, you know, but yeah, just your main event moments, like these hero moments for sound have just way, it's balanced so much more consideration, it seems, like way more tastefully. So this, if I had to guess, well, we'll hear Dead Space first. Let's hear this last one. Yeah, I would guess that this is your most recent design, just from what I'm hearing in these clips. But I may be wrong. I don't know. It's possible. But this feels the most mature in terms of those kind of mixing decisions you're making. There's also not a whole lot going on in this clip. It's very much like hero moment. We're here now. This is happening now. There's no mixture of things going on to really contend with. But regardless, just those sounds in isolation are solid. Dead Space. I mean, we have a lot of the same things we've been talking about. Just clean stuff. It's less apparent here. The biggest issue with this clip is just because it's so chaotic. There is an element of, okay, well, let's introduce some of that chaos into the sound design and be a bit like, what's even happening? It's nuts. We're in this like scrambling fight with this crazy, grotesque creature. That's a consideration, sure. But there probably still is room to balance into that a little bit. What is important right now? And therefore, what do we want to hear? So if we really try and look at this thing from moment to moment, we have what? We have, and then, so this moment here is all about ambience. All that matters is the sound of the space we're in, right? Nothing's happening except for our feet and the room. It's great. Got a lot of detail too. It's super cool. So this here, we have this big breakage. Okay. Yeah, so it's a big blast. It goes on kind of long-ish in terms of the tail. I'm not sure if it's only reverb or if you designed that stuff, but this fall, I mean, this could be, this could be really dry. There are sparks showering down and stuff. It's a big blast, sure. But this fall, I mean, look at the camera. It goes, look at this thing, right? Look at this gross thing. Check it out. We worked very hard on this. Look at it. It's like, so it's a little introduction, but we kind of haven't seen much yet, you know? We're just seeing, it's not even looking at the camera yet. It's just like, blah. So maybe we don't want to be too big with this because there's, I don't know, have we seen this thing before? Is it introduction? Like context matters. Before redesign, we'll assume this is the first time we're seeing this guy and that's that. So fall, like, oh my God, what is this? Oh my God, blah. And then it's like, rah, and then it falls down and stuff. So we have, there's still a lot of room. Like I'm hearing a lot of this. It's kind of the same thing as the opening clip. You know, we have a lot of the space still part of the story, but when it's not, it's about this guy. Just bring it down. There's some weird panning there too, isn't there? I keep hearing that. I'm hearing the yell on the left side. Yeah, because of that ambient space and so forth, you have a lot of room to be like really gross and like and bring to the front of the mix big time with this like grab and drag, you know? And it's in there, but because everything else is still so loud, as a result, the mix on the whole feels kind of like this, where it should be a bit more like this. We're hearing these like big close-up. We hear the weight of the character, like maybe some slime stuff, some like some really gross like grating scrapes on the metal floor paneling. It's just, yeah. Like, what was that just now? We shoot it. And then this is a second one. Right? Is that what I'm getting? I almost missed that entirely. Maybe I did miss it entirely the first time. Yeah, it's two of them. I totally missed this two of them the first time. So yeah, it's just the the support on everything is just so, yeah. Yeah. So the panning isn't helping, Colin. That's one thing. It's just that this is a challenging clip to design. First off, I want to be very clear about that, Charlie. Like, this is a pretty ambitious clip to redesign. I think that the sounds you've made are really cool. The creature sounds great. You know, the space sounds great. And it's a question of taking these great things you've made and just finding a home for them. Because it's kind of unfortunate. It's tragic that you put so much time into this stuff and there just isn't room for it to live. So we're not hearing all that hard work you've done. Yeah. Like this here, this is, I mean, what does this mean in the story? What is this moment? This moment is, it's dead, thank God. But no, there's more, right? You know, it's like, kill. And then we're just looking. And he like shoots it again just to make sure. But no, there's more, oh my God. And then... yeah, it's a lot like clack. And these are different weapons? I was realizing now. Is that what you were saying, Isaac? Not a huge fan of how the pistol whip sounds the same as the shooting. Oh, like the, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a lot of like clack. It's same weapon but different context. So, it's just tricky. This, yeah, the hit should be significantly different from a shot. Like we should be, and the thing is, like, I kind of suspect that if you bring things down and bring other things up and play with that mix a little more dynamically over time, Charlie, I think we'll probably hear a lot of that. I think you have done this in a lot of it, but we just aren't hearing it, you know? It's like, this is a crazy, there's so much happening in this clip. And yeah, it's because there's so much happening, that nuance over time becomes so much more important just to guide, again, game audio. It's about supporting narrative. So we're looking to guide the viewer's attention, help the story be told with our sound design. We don't want to inhibit it by bringing things up that aren't the story. We want to bring things up that are the story. It sounds obvious, but it's really, really important, you know. It's a very commonly missed thing with people kind of up and coming in the game space. They just design everything they see, and they're like, sounds awesome, so full of sound. True, full of sound, but kind of missing the true goal of what we're working towards here. Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of great design in there. Just the clean synth thing. Watch for that, and just start thinking more about what the story actually is. Watch it on mute in slow motion, and think, what is important now? What's important coming up? Can you give a bit of foreshadowing there? You know, there's room for that too. Like this guy here, if we have that death moment, it's dead, and it sounds quiet, and you make room for that in the mix to prove it sounds quiet, like back to peace again, and then we have, oh but wait, clack behind us. Just that brief moment of hearing that guy before we see him. We kind of don't, right? It's we like rah, like right on the hit, and the grab and the scream are kind of simultaneous, but we don't hear the approach, and the approach is kind of part of it. If we were that, I can't recall this guy's name. I should know it. Escapes me. But if we were this person, and then we hear that clack walking up, we kind of see it barely, right? So seeing it barely, hearing it barely, makes sense. Barney, of course. Thank you. Okay. So Charlie, I'm going way over time here. We're talking. I feel this is worth talking about a little bit though, because it's nice to discuss these nuances. Isaac, thank you. It's Isaac, of course. I should know this. You're right here. To be honest, it's a little dated from how you approach sound design these days. So you think a new showreel is in order? Well, I mean, it's a whole year old. So why not, right? I hope that was helpful. And of course, if you have any more questions or if you missed something or if I didn't talk about something specific, then please let me know. I do want to really quick just glance at this breakdown. I got to go, though. I got to work on some stuff here, but I want to glance. Let's see it.
Hi there, I'm Charlie Leslie. Hi.
So something else, one last thing. This has happened a couple times now. It happened in the original video as well. It felt like you may have missed some fades. And not just for kind of creative presentation reasons, but for technical reasons. This start. Pop, pop. Do you hear that? Click, click. That feels like no fade. And it might be something you've designed in here, but I don't think it is. That feels like no fade, and also your name. Right there, click, click. I felt like there was some missed fades here and there with like clicks at the front of them. And then we go into this thing and we press play and there's no real introduction. It's just like, psh, like right into
Hi
it.
there.
Right away. There may be room just to have the lightest hand just to introduce things, you know? Yeah.
Charlie Leslie, and welcome to my video in which I will be breaking down the realistic breathing system that I implemented in my game Blood Money.
In your
This
game?
breathing system was achieved in 3 stages.
When in school, did you make this, or what's the story?
Very simply, this starts off with the audio files I wish to use being placed in a blend container in WWise. The behavior of this blend container is being manipulated by a state group called running, which is then being controlled by a custom script within my Unity project. In the blend container, there are 2 audio files. One is a more intense breathing pattern used for the running, and another is a more labored breathing pattern which is used for the cooldown after running. These audio files are set to loop infinitely and commence as soon as the project starts, and the reason for this is so that they blend far more seamlessly when the game states change. The running state group contains 3 separate states: running, cooldown, and walking. Each state controls the level of the audio files within the blend container. And to
So the first thing I'm asking myself is how do you accommodate for inhales versus exhales? And the loops so far don't seem like they would accommodate for that. So I'm curious if you do it.
And to add a more realistic change of breathing speed for the character, the transition time of the state change is 0.5 seconds. And because the audio files are playing simultaneously, when a state change is triggered, the transition over that 0.5 seconds will act like a crossfade between the 2 audio files.
Yeah. It's pretty quick, mind you. Yeah, like you do hear the crossfade.
This breathing system is then fully realized within the Unity script. When the game starts, the default state is...
So I've actually done something like this in a game jam project a long time ago, and it's we actually separated out the inhales and exhales, and had it as an F mod, and it was transitioning on the fly, and every time an inhale or exhale finished, it would know to go to the corresponding thing, to an inhale or to an exhale, and we had different levels. It was like for a horror thing, and there was increasing panic, like a panic parameter basically. And if they were crazy panicked versus very calm, we would change over time. It would very rarely go from like no panic to full panic. But the thing is, that's the one thing that sounded kind of poor, because it would have to like wait for the breath to finish to go to like a hard panic breath, but usually would ramp. So it's kind of fine. And so panic breaths like are very fast, and is shorter, but I go it's still going to be like following that back and forth exhale, just with increasing frequency of breaths, right? So not to say what you did is wrong, but there are shortcomings, right? So that's the first thing I thought. And when you said
in my game, we'll be breaking down the realistic breathing system.
Realistic breathing system, that's what I expected to see. I don't want to like dunk on you here. It's not my goal, Charlie. But when you did say realistic breathing system, that's what I expected to see, is something to accommodate for how lungs work realistically. And unfortunately, this is more of like explaining how blend containers work. You know? Cool. Like, yeah, again, not without value for a student project. Great first iteration. But if you need to do it again, hit me up. We can talk about how to accommodate for inhales and exhales. Excuse me. Most importantly, it seems concise, seems quick, well edited. You're commentating, fantastic across the board, really, really good. Just I wouldn't do it that way. That's all. Okay, and second one really quick.
Hi there. My name is Charlie Leslie, and in this video, I will be breaking down how I created an adaptive soundtrack for one of my video game worlds.
Fantastic. Same thing.
Hi there. My name is
Yep, I assume, and same thing. Hi there. Oh! Okay, Charlie, I'd recommend to also introduce this one or have something about this, because this video is 4.5 minutes long. It's long. Is something cool happening at 2.5 or at 3.5? Like, you're doing stuff. I don't want to be a downer, Charlie, but 0 people are going to watch this video for 3.5 minutes for all the aforementioned reasons. They have way too many things to look at. They're just not going to do it. If you guide us through it, they might. I mean, look at that. We were watching this thing the whole time, right? Watched like 1.5 minutes of this. And we were down for it because it's like you're walking us through it. We're also learning about you while watching it. There's a lot of benefit to your commentary beyond just the explanation. Yeah. And this is cool as hell. Look how cool this is. Charlie, they're going to miss it. They're just not going to watch this. I mean, how stoked is the chat right now? Amazing. Oh man, you gotta do a video and commentate this. This is so cool. This right here is distinction. That's what this is. Freaking awesome. So cool, man. We almost didn't watch this. So close. I almost clicked here and didn't press play. You know? Come on, man. Honestly, I hope this isn't coming across like, again, like I'm roasting you. It's really not the intent. I think that where you're at is fantastic. As far as people coming to Real Talk, it's like you have this really, I mean, incredibly strong foundation, musical background, solid sound design ideas, just got to deal with mixing stuff. Bunch of works you've worked on. Like this generative thing, live music performance. Like all these things are fantastic. It's a matter of just sculpting all that into a stronger presentation. But yeah, killer. Solid across the board, honestly, Charlie. Despite all our nitpicking, really good. Yeah, really nice work. I gotta go. It's so late, man. I was like, we'll just have 2 people to talk about this time and not 17. Still went long, so I'm gonna go get some work done. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I will be back here again in 2 weeks' time, I suppose. I'll throw this back on because it is just so good. Mexomurph. Let's go to Planet 4. We're approaching. Okay. Thanks all. Cheers.